What's the best way to learn SEO in 2020? Well, grab a cup of coffee and a notepad because I have some incredible tips I wish I knew back then to help you on your journey. Stay tuned. Just 4 years ago, I was working as a computer technician and web developer. At the request of the CEO at the time, I began learning SEO. I dreaded it at first because it felt like a completely different language. After I struggled through it for a couple of months, studying nearly every waking moment, it slowly began to make sense to me and I fully realized its power. So I began practicing on our business website. After seeing the effects it had for my very first attempted campaign, I became obsessed with it. Since then, I have grown numerous businesses. To this day, there is no greater high than growing a business and making a bunch of money doing it. I'm still as passionate as ever about organic search marketing. That's why I created this channel, to help others just like you overcome some of the same challenges I faced and make them easier for you. That way you can learn to be successful in the industry as well. So if you'd like me to continue teaching SEO, please like this video and consider subscribing to my channel. A quick disclaimer before we get started. A little learning is a dangerous thing. Drink deep or taste not the Pierian spring. There, shallow draughts intoxicate the brain, and drinking largely sobers us again. That was an excerpt from a poem by Alexander Pope. It expresses the idea that a small amount of knowledge can mislead people into thinking that they're more of an expert than they really are. This can lead to big mistakes being made. The point is, if you try to learn the minimum, you could be doing your business a disservice and possibly end up hurting your website rather than helping it. Or worse, someone else's. I'm not trying to scare you, I just thought you should know that there can sometimes be consequences to undereducation. Now let's get into it. For starters, there are no credible college courses and no true industry recognized certification programs. So essentially there are no regulations between the right and wrong way to do SEO. So you have a few different options to learn. You have online courses, one-on-one SEO coaching, or you can learn on your own by Googling everything and watching videos that may or may not contain credible information. While courses can be a good introduction to SEO, they're not going to teach you everything you need to know, nor help you with real-world experience. How much you learn from it can also depend on the quality of the course you take. One-on-one coaching is great for help with implementation advice and advanced techniques, but you may not want to waste their time with understanding simple SEO concepts or terminology since it's costing you money. Unless you have plenty of it, that is. Self-learning can have its limits as well in terms of learning quickly and in process development. I recommend a combination of all the methods which will help you with versatility and solidifying your beliefs and your processes along the way. For the purposes of this video, we're going to focus on tips that will help you with self-learning SEO. Let's get on to tip number 1. Commit to learning it. If you're going to embark on this journey, you should be willing to find out how far the rabbit hole goes. The further down you go, the more you can learn to influence a website's traffic and rankings. And I assure you, you'll never regret spending time to acquire this knowledge. You can use it to grow your own business or start a career in the digital marketing space yourself. But it will teach you to look at the cyber world around you very differently. 2. I know it can be a bit overwhelming at first, but you've got to set fear and inhibitions aside. Don't worry about how much others know over you. They started fresh at some point too. Never compare your beginning to someone else's middle or end. You can do this, and you will do this if you want it. 3. Don't believe everything you read or watch. I can't stress that enough. There's a ton of misinformation out there related to SEO. Along the way, you'll want to learn the differences either by verifying through alternative credible sources or just testing it out yourself. And I'll give no exceptions for the things that you'll be learning on my channel. I always welcome comments if you'd like to tell me a different way that you understand to be better than what I've found. 4. Start by focusing on the fundamentals such as keyword research, search intent, and on-page SEO prior to moving on to things that may be too technical for a beginner. If you're starting with a web developer background, it may be easier to start with technical SEO, but most don't have that advantage, so start with the easy stuff. The main thing is don't focus on too many things at once. If you try to chase 5 rabbits, you're not going to catch any of them. So focus on one thing at a time and get it down before moving on to the next. 5. When I started learning SEO, I studied it at great lengths for 2 months before putting it into practice. Don't make the same mistake. As you begin learning, begin practicing. Spend more time performing the newly learned tasks than consuming SEO-related content. This is how you will learn to understand the effects of the information you learn and help you to understand how it works hands-on. If you don't currently have a website to practice on, you can quickly throw a website together with WordPress and an easy page builder that has templates such as Divi or Elementor. It takes very little to get started and you'll learn faster and retain much more. 6. Some tasks in SEO carry more weight than others and may provide more value. You'll need to learn to understand what is likely to have the most impact so optimizations can be prioritized in a way that provides the most value upfront to your business or your client's business. Your focus should be on the tasks that would produce the most traffic, the highest rankings, or the greatest revenue increase, not necessarily in that order. 7. Along the way, as you find the best processes, create standard operating procedure documents for yourself. You may need to look at them again for reference in the future. But even if you don't, recording the processes will help you commit them to memory. 8. You won't remember everything to check for each time you perform an audit. It requires a ton of repetition to remember everything. So it's best to use a checklist so nothing is missed during the audit. Shameless plug, if you'd like to check out mine and don't mind paying for the best one out there, you can find a link for it in the description. 9. If you're learning SEO as an occupation, you want to create case studies. Once you're confident enough and you've managed to get results for yourself, do a couple of audits and implementations for free to create some detailed case studies. These can be placed on your website or shown to potential clients to instill confidence and help land that sale. Just remember that you should be keeping evidence of every successful client. I sure wish I would have done that, but my evidence is limited to a handful of clients that I actually remember to do that with. Don't be that guy. 10. To be the most effective in SEO today, you should have knowledge related to things that aren't exactly a part of SEO in the traditional sense, but will benefit SEO either directly or indirectly. Learn to understand content marketing basics. This doesn't mean you have to be a writer, you can always outsource for that. But you need to know the kinds of content that you require for success, as well as the ability to decipher good content from poor content. You should also have a good understanding of inbound marketing concepts, social media, conversion rate optimization, user experience, etc. It is also very helpful to have at least some familiarity with website theme files and page code in order to get past the more technical aspects of SEO. 11. Keep in mind, some things can be automated. Though you should learn manual processes for a better understanding, there are a lot of ways to automate certain things, such as crawlers, backlink analyzers, on-page SEO tools, spreadsheet formulas, and even using Python or other coding languages to make tedious processes much easier. 12. Unicorns aren't real, and there's no magic bullet or button to win at SEO. You have to put in the work, be consistent, make smart decisions. 13. Subscribe to various authoritative sources to receive SEO tips and updates about the SEO industry. Aside from subscribing to my channel for tutorials, you should also subscribe to the Google Webmaster Central blog for the latest updates in Google's guidelines, Search Engine Roundtable for news and coverage on algorithm updates, Bill Slawski from SEO by the Sea, who breaks down Google's patents, Search Engine Journal, Search Engine Land, etc. You can also follow other notable SEOs that are transparent, provide details, studies, and results. 14. Never stop learning. SEO changes a lot. Google is reported to change its search algorithm around 500 to 600 times each year. While most are small and go by unnoticed, they roll out major changes about once every quarter. It's important to stay on top of these changes to keep up with the industry. It's equally important to continue finding new and better ways to improve your campaigns and redefine your processes based around the changes to the algorithm and technology improvements. 15. If possible, find a mentor with a lot of experience you can seek advice from with the more challenging stuff that may not be easily found on Google. That's something I longed for in my early days, but I didn't know anyone that knew SEO, and I wasn't sure how to find them. It's a good idea to locate active forums or Facebook groups with a lot of great SEOs and connect with them. You never know what kind of relationships may emerge from there. Well, that wraps up my 15 best tips for learning SEO in 2020. If you follow the processes in this video, you can learn SEO the right way in a matter of months, if you commit the time to it. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell to make sure that you're notified about my next video coming very soon. Before I go, in the comments below, let me know what is the most valuable thing you learned from this video.